Fire Emblem Switch. Yeah, it still exists. Even this totally not speculative at all magazine in Spain, Catalonia, knows that it's coming. And we know that it's planned for a 2018 release. So where is it? The answer is we don't know, as Fire Emblem Switch along with Yoshi Switch are two of the biggest unanswered questions following the March Direct. Naturally, both have been put into the shadows following the reveal of Super Smash Bros. Switch, but that doesn't mean that they are less important because of it, as Nintendo has August, September, October, November and December to fill. Well, let's get back to the topic of the video, namely Fire Emblem for Nintendo Switch. This game was first announced and teased in the January 2017 Fire Emblem Direct, a few days after the official Nintendo Switch presentation. As they put it themselves,
"On the distant horizon, another full-scale war is mounting. A brand new Fire Emblem game is coming to Nintendo Switch. It will mark the series' first return to home systems since 2008's Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn on the Wii console. But with Nintendo Switch, the home console experience of Fire Emblem won't be confined to your house. Look forward to a planned 2018 release."
Since that brief announcement over 16 months ago, we have heard nothing, absolutely nada, about this game. No E3, no directs, no tweets, nothing. In fact, even after the release of Fire Emblem Warriors and multiple new characters in Fire Emblem Heroes, it has been all quiet on the Fire Emblem Switch front. A reason for the lack of information might be tied to the fact that Nintendo doesn't want to retract any attention from their remaining spring and summer lineup, knowing full well how vulnerable Wii U ports, games like Kirby and Mario Tennis, and third-party releases are to brand new first-party titles from Nintendo's bigger studios. This might explain why Fire Emblem Switch and Yoshi Switch have remained in the shadows despite the fact they are both still scheduled for 2018. Speaking of, the most recent update being from the newest release list by Nintendo of Europe this week, which has them both listed as 2018 titles. This stands in contrast to Metroid Prime 4, Pokemon RPG, and Bayonetta 3, titles that are all listed as TBC, to be confirmed for release year.
In other words, just as everyone expects, the games are still coming this year. Like, for real. How would Nintendo fill out this giant first-party hole in their release calendar if these are not part of their plan for the second half of 2018? Animal Crossing? Pikmin? We got your hopes up there for a second. But no, the fall of 2018 will by no doubt belong to Fire Emblem and Yoshi before Smash takes over both of them with its launch to dominate the holiday sales. Also, the fourth and final part of our most wanted newcomer characters for Smash Switch is going up soon. But outside of a decent at best first half of 2018 lineup, what other reasons are there to keep Fire Emblem under the lid? One could be the transition the franchise is going through outside of the already impressive cinematic cutscenes. You see, Fire Emblem has changed dramatically since the last console game, Radiant Dawn, in 2007 or 2008 depending on your region.
Yes, that is 10 years ago. Perhaps that is why they want the franchise on the Switch. Joking aside, for a decade now the Fire Emblem franchise has been tied solely to handhelds, and with Awakening the series turned from a dark and gritty tactical RPG into, well, a waifu tactical RPG. Needless to say, this alteration to the Fire Emblem formula angered many veterans, who saw the inclusion of in-game relationships and love stories as detracting from the core of the franchise, namely the tactical gameplay and intricate stories. Now, with the first installment of the franchise for the Nintendo Switch, most of the fanbase is tied to the newcomers from Awakening, Fates, Warriors, and finally Heroes. In other words, the waifu audience, which is despised by parts of the long-term veterans of the series.
And this is where the great dilemma of the development team at Intelligent Systems comes into play. They know they have to deliver for audiences that demand radically different products. In short, Fire Emblem Switch can either return to its roots as a serious core tactical RPG, or continue its path as a tactical RPG that, in a large part, is a waifu wars simulator. Let's also not forget that the development team has a similar task to Pokemon, to reinvent their franchise for modern-day HD consoles. On top of that, they still remember what sort of desperate state Fire Emblem as a game series was prior to the release of Awakening. Near death, and designed to fill the role as a conclusion or end to the long-running series. This is quite visible in the game as elements from all prior Fire Emblem games were implemented. Nevertheless, Awakening turned out to become a resounding success as it welcomed more players in with waifu characters drawn by manga artist Yusuke Kozaki and the option to disable the series' staple permadeath mechanics. This naturally brought in a new audience to the franchise. So what can we really expect from Fire Emblem Switch? If Mr. Kozaki returns, a prettier but at the same time truthful tactical RPG that obviously embraces the waifu staples of the 3DS titles, and more so, Fire Emblem Heroes that has brought an even greater audience to the franchise. This goes in particular for the Japanese market, since we see it as unlikely that this game will abandon the waifus in favor of going back to its grittier past. As to a reveal of the actual game and title, we believe that there is no better place than Nintendo's E3 Spotlight this June. Mainly because it will give enough time to promote the game, seeing as July is already packed, and we see this game coming after Yoshi's Switch, with hopefully another appearance in a September Direct. If it is to appear any sooner, then it would have to be during Nintendo's quarterly fiscal briefing on April 26th. With that being said, it is doubtful that anything beyond a release quarter would be shared by Nintendo President Tatsumi Kimishima. And on that note, we want to thank you all for watching. Please like if you enjoyed this video and wish to see more Fire Emblem Switch videos on the channel, and if you are new, subscribe and click the notification bell to not miss any of our future Nintendo Switch videos.
We're getting closer and closer to 150,000 subscribers, and when we do, we will launch our special 150k collection. And if it occurs before May 13, invite and pay one of you who are subscribed, follows us on Twitter at Common Realm, and is part of our Discord server, The Sacred Realm, to see Conrad's setup in Oslo, Norway, while Joseph is visiting us. Finally, we want to thank all our patrons, including road producer Kenyatta Ali, for the continuous support of the channel. You can join these glorious people too, and receive our highest seal of approval by pledging $5 or more at patreon.com/commonrealm.